of data centers and virtualization, right? So we tried to understand the essential characteristics of cloud, right? So we looked at the various characteristics one by one. So when we talked about on-demand self-service, right? So we discussed like how services are available at our fingertips at all times and at all locations. From anywhere we can connect to the cloud at any time, right? And about the broad network access, right? So we discussed like how we can access the cloud using our laptop or desktop or mobile or smartphone, right? So we also looked at the need of resource pooling. I have Santosh. So resource pooling with respect to cloud providers, why they need to do the pooling, right? And we discussed about our requirements for scaling up and scaling down, right? So about the scalability, right? So what is the meaning of scaling up and down and scaling in and scaling out, right? So they need to do resource pooling for fulfilling our requirements of scaling up and scaling down depending on our workload, right? And then we discussed about the rapid elasticity, right? So we analyzed the need of elasticity in the cloud, right? And how we should be rapidly able to provision and deprovision the resources, right? Or the services based on our own requirement, right? So we discussed about the measured service, right? Or you call it metered service, right? So where we just need to pay a small subscription fee, right? And we need to take care of the bill based on the actual uses, right? Then we tried to define the cloud computing, right, based on whatever was our understanding of the essential characteristics of cloud, right? And no, the definition is given by NIST, right? The National Institute of Standards and Technology, right? Okay, so what we discussed next was about why we should go for cloud, right? And the various possible reasons, right, for adopting the cloud, right? Correct? So we consolidated the benefits of cloud, and then we moved to understand the overview of data center, right? So we looked at the various components, right? The functional requirements of a data center. We tried to understand the various keywords related to planning and designing the infrastructure for our data center, right? So then we discussed about virtualization, right? The basics of virtualization, what is virtualizations, and some questions, and then the benefits of virtualizations, then hypervisor, the types of hypervisors, right? And then the various types of virtualization. And then we introduced AWS, right? And the various possibilities of deployments and the types of service models offered by AWS, right? And other service providers as well, right? So we are yet to understand how to access the AWS services, right? So some introduction, some basics about the global infrastructure, where how it is divided into geographical regions and availability zones, right? And then about these deployment models and all. And then finally, we have some questions, right? So we will, so today we will be looking at a couple of questions just to revise the concept that we tried to understand yesterday, right? So no, we had a good amount of theoretical discussions to begin with, right? So today, like we'll be focusing more on the hands-on, right? And just try to look at a couple of questions before we move on to the hands-on, right? So please take a look at this question and let me know what should be the right answer.
It should be
I
zone.
think it's a zone.
D.
Zone. Okay. Which of the following is a physical location around the world where it was clusters its data centers? Not really.
Reason.
Okay. So who says region?
I'm Rahul.
Rahul. That's right, Rahul. Right. So all of you, please take a look and try to relate what Rahul says. And if you agree, then we can take up the next question.
Harish, as per you yesterday, you said data centers are zoned together to perform a zone, and zone again became region. Okay, multiple zones became region, and multiple data center became zone. So,
right, Pradipta. Right. That's perfectly right, and that's what it is. Please go to the question one more time.
Around the world, AWS clusters. Yeah, so AWS clusters is data centers.
Yeah.
So that is zone, right?
No. Just understand again. One more time you read. Which of the following is a physical location around the world where, right? We are talking about the physical location, right, in the world where AWS clusters its data center. So AWS creates its data center. So AWS keeps its data center, make a cluster of data centers in that location. So what is that location called? Got it? It's not, I'm not asking the question, the data center. What is that data center called? That availability zone, actually, not even zone, right? So availability zone is the term for data center, actually, right? So the location we are talking about, right? The physical location, right? Where AWS creates and clusters its data center. You got the question now?
Okay.
Right, just with confusion here has been created due to the word, right? So that was the purpose, actually. That was the purpose of asking.
जिसमें वो लिंक है अब इसमें देखते हैं इसमें खुल रहा है Gmail.
Santosh, please go on mute. So we are talking about so everyone on the same page, all got the question?
Yep.
Right. So here, it's the region, right? So region is a physical location, right? So region is a physical location around the world where AWS clusters its data center. So AWS clusters their data center in region, various regions, right? Next one. Yeah. Please take a look at this.
It's a hybrid one, hybrid deployment.
Okay. All others agree.
This is a type of organization. No, this is a community deployment.
Yes, right. Community
Community
development, because it's a mix of cloud and on-premises.
And
Right?
common
So
it's a common set. So probably.
Yeah, probably because it's a common. So common like server is known as community deployment. So it's a community deployment for me.
Rahul, right?
Yes, correct.
So I think it's hybrid. It's C.
Pradipta, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Fine. Let's take a look again one more time, right? So it says enterprise environments are often a mix of cloud and on-premises. Okay, so cloud means here public cloud, you can say, right? So public cloud and on-premises, right? Private cloud, a mix of private and public, right? So this type of cloud architecture helps organizations integrate their on-premises and cloud operations. So mix their private and public operations, right? So you are mixing a private and public operations to support a broad spectrum of use cases using a common set of cloud services, tools, and APIs across on-premises and again cloud environments. So again, like they're talking about like the private and the public, the mix of private and public. Now you please try to answer one more time.
Okay, mixture of public and private.
I still go with hybrid.
It is hybrid only. On
Ah.
community, I guess it is all private cloud coming together, maybe.
In that case, it's a hybrid because it's a mixture of public and private, so it will be hybrid. Okay, I thought that it's a mixture of cloud where one cloud is set up and multiple projects are using their servers. So that's what I thought, that it's a community. So it's hybrid now. It's hybrid now.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So yes, it is hybrid, right? And if it is like on-premises, kind of private, and if everything is in cloud, no, then public, right? And the community, you know, the similar type of organization for similar purposes, right? They will be sharing things, right, together. So there will be proper indication, right? If it is community, right? So they will be indicating few more keywords related to community or common purpose or all those things. Different organization names will be mentioned, right? So so there is no confusion, right? So now it's hybrid deployment itself, right? So let's move to the next question.
Availability zones.
So Buddha says availability zones.
Yeah, availability zones, because it is within the same geographical area.
Okay, so same, Shweta also says the same, right? Others, you agree? And Shika, you're there? Shika, I don't see. Okay. So all of you agree? Pradatta, Rahul?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, it's availability zone, right?
Right. So here, we talked about the data center, right? So now, never to forget that when we talk about the data centers, the cluster of data center or a facility of data centers, facility providing servers and equipments. So when we talk about all these things, when we talk about later, we'll see that each data center will be mapped to a subnet within the VPC. Yesterday you were asking what is VPC, right? So we will be looking at all those aspects. We will have a detailed analysis of each and everything, right? So I'll assure that everything is covered, right? So let's move to the next question, right? So please take a look.
I think it's B for me.
Rahul says B for Bravo, right? Or D?
Let me
B for
read once
Delta.
again. Yeah, let me read once again. I'll
Sure,
check.
please go ahead.
It's all the above.
It's D. It's all the above. Based on their requirement, they can go for it. It's all the above.
Rahul says all of the above.
It's all of the above. D.
Buddha also says all of the above. Customers get an interface. So usually what happens is you have to choose the best possible answer, right? And the similar will be the case in your certification examination. So this may be like if you talk about the difficulty level of the questions, right? So far as we have just begun our journey, right, towards the certification and the course curriculum, right? So this is I have tried to put simpler questions, right? So, but the level of confusions, right? You might be looking at the words, right, that are there in the questions and what they really mean, right? So many times you will see that technically all the answers are correct, right? However, one of the answer will be the most suitable. One may be 99% correct, another may be 100% correct. So you have to go for the 100% correct one, right? So what they are looking for, right, in the question, right? You must be able to relate to that, because it would be very thin line of difference between all the possible answers, right? So I would request one more time for you to consider, read each choices and decide.
Harish, I think it's B.
According to me also it's B. Rahul here. It's according to me also.
Says
I think it's B. Yeah, customer subscribes for using metered units of a service provider, compute, storage, and networking resources. What we discussed yesterday in infrastructure as a service.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's look one by one. Say, look at the first choice A, right? So customers get an interface through which they just need to define environment required for their application,
Applications we used in like this one, like PaaS.
SaaS, correct?
SaaS.
Correct.
Yeah.
Look at the C. Look at C. Customers
pay
yeah,
rental for end users access. Okay, to software applications provided over the internet.
What is
This is SaaS. Yeah, this is SaaS.
This is SaaS, right?
SaaS, correct.
So if C is SaaS, right, and if A is PaaS, right?
Yeah.
So which one is
B.
IaaS, right?
Yes, B, correct. B.
So Harish,
right?
Yeah. So Harish, I have a question here.
Yeah. Sure.
If you're opting for IaaS as a service, then as per the layer, so it is like IaaS, then PaaS, and then SaaS, right?
Right.
So if I'm opting for IaaS, then isn't it that by default I would be having the PaaS and the SaaS as well, because that depends on the architectural level, isn't it?
Definitely. So if you look at the architectural layer, right? So what happens here, if you look at the question again, right? So what happens is, the definition, right? If you look at the definition, so that definition, which definition is the most appropriate for this IaaS? That is the question, right?
Yeah, number B.
B is the most appropriate definition or not? That is the question.
Correct? So, yeah, so B is for the definition of the IaaS, which is correct, but my logic was like, so if I am opting for an IaaS from a layer perspective, from a design perspective, then whatever the layers comes above it, like PaaS and SaaS, would be automatically opted, because I would be managing those layers as well as an individual entity.
Agree.
Correct. Yeah, but
that's very right. That's very right. So,
so here, based on that, understood.
Buddha, technically, like what you have said is 100% correct, right? So technically, it is very much true, right? So when we talk about IaaS, let me go to the whiteboard one more time, right? Yeah.
I have one question here.
Sure.
Suppose I am opting for IaaS, all right? So is it we can take separately, like if I am opting for IaaS, or I am opting for PaaS, or I am opting for SaaS, so we can take individually, or if I'll take any one of them, then it will be automatically opted for each and every one. It is like that, or
no. You can choose. You just choose.
We have to choose. It's like a subscription, right?
Yes.
Whatever I decide, I will take. Correct?
Yes. 100%.
Okay. So so based on that, IaaS is the things which will comes under like this part, infrastructure part. So IaaS will be the answer for that.
Yeah, that's actually when we talk about the answer, yes. 100%. That is the best choice if you want to get the marks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But when we talk about the understanding, from the bigger perspective, right? So what happens is, we have. Let me begin with these servers, right? So we have my whiteboard is visible to all of you, right?
Correct.
So we have the server hardware, right? We have storage, right? Storage hardware, right? We have networking component, right? We have virtualization, right? We have been talking about all these things, right? So we have virtualization, and we have operating system, right? We have database, right? And say like we need to maintain the security of all these components, right? We have the application code, right? Right. So if we go up to this level, right? If I take a look here, so SAS would be coming here, right? Do you have access to application code for SAS? I have
No.
somebody.
No, that's pass.
Yeah,
So-
I have somebody in the waiting room. Please let me allow 1 moment. Okay, so we have Santosh. Yeah. So is it right? SAS, can I put it here above all these things?
Above all is right. Yeah.
Correct, no? So I put SAS here. Right? Now, what do you think PAS will have access to?
Software development.
So this code will be available?
Yeah.
It's application code. Yes.
Okay, so let me put PAS here. Right. Now, which one should be considered for IAS? This all things
Storage
should be
hardware.
considered?
Yes, all the
All
things.
of it.
Yes, server hardware, storage hardware, all these things. Correct.
Are you sure?
Till
Rahul?
till
Server
networking.
hardware.
We have to take care of all these hardwares. Yesterday, I think
Yes.
somebody
Yes,
told me
server
that
hardware.
no.
Yeah, correct.
Somebody told if the hardware is going bad or something, will I be
Yes,
doing
I
it?
only told you.
Then why today you are considering hardware in IAS,
Okay.
No,
right?
it will. No, so
So,
server hardware, anyways, in a public cloud, it is owned by the cloud provider. So it will be considered if we are taking it from the public cloud. Server hardware till virtualization should be part of IaaS. OSDB and security is, a managed services sort of thing. Because again, it depends on where we have bought the licenses and who is, owning it. That is same with the DB. And security is, again, these all the three things are managed services, completely managed.
So you want me to draw a line here?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I would go with till networking, Haris, because virtualization again hypervisor that probably we have to purchase extra. But under IAS, it should be till networking. Then
Under IAS till networking.
yeah.
Okay, anybody has to say anything else? Will we be taking care of virtualization, Padatta?
Yes, I mean there are different types of hypervisor, and I would be that probably.
Will we be doing anything with that? Will we be taking care of switches or routers or networking related wiring or cabling?
So yeah, that's why I told you till networking, above networking. I mean,
Here you want?
Yes. Yeah.
So virtualization, you will be deciding or you will be choosing.
Yeah.
Any issue with the virtualization?
No, I don't think under IAS virtualization is part of IAS. So again, that's a software,
But
right?
it's a cloud service provider. If they do not virtualize it, how
Yes.
will we at an end user be accessing it, or the customer being accessing it? So virtualization is their solution, not ours. I think so.
Agree.
So Harish, there are different types of hypervisor, right? Through hypervisor, we are going to virtualize it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
So
there
you
are
just
different.
have to choose it. If any issue with that, they will be managing it.
So what I am doing is that there are different type of virtualization. Okay.
Mhm.
So what I did it this price what IBM Cloud was quoting for this hypervisor VMware. Okay.
Yeah, for that.
VMware base center, that was quite high. So what I chose is I purchased it from outside directly from vendor.
Oh,
Okay. So that is how I reduce my cost. So but networking, storage, and server I cannot purchase from outside. It has to be from my infrastructure as a cloud. So
okay.
that is what I'm saying. Networking I don't have an option, but from
Okay.
virtualization, OS, DB, security, that all comes under my scope or my
Okay.
decision.
Okay. 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 Got your point, Rahul. Pradatta, sorry. Pradatta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pradatta, I got your point. Understood. So now, Shweta, so kind of, no, this scale, whatever we are trying to draw, right? So there is not a fixed, no, button, right? That we just make it on or off, right? And we simply, draw a very, dedicated line that this is the line, right? So when we draw a line, right, so that will be kind of not a no very hard line or something, right? When it comes to different type of cloud providers, right? So what kind of flexibilities they are giving to you, right? So what Pradatta says, right? So I got his point, right? So you can have flexibilities, up to some other layer here, some kind of line, maybe something in your control as well. So how much control you are getting, how for what? So here, if we talk about the responsibility, if we talk about the flexibility, so the cloud provider is giving Pradatta some flexibility, right, to do something with the virtualization, right? So I accept it, right? So perfect. No, that's perfectly all right. There is nothing wrong in it, right? So there is no fixed button or something where we just say now here from here it will not be a part of IaaS, right? It's right. So let's look at this thing. So usually if we talk about the responsibility, right? So who is responsible, right? From, and especially from the AWS perspective, right? If I say that, who is responsible in what kind of services they are offering, right? So I would go with the Shweta, right? To draw the line here, right, with respect to AWS, with respect to responsibility. With respect to flexibility, Pradatta, I agree. You got the flexibility to do that. Agree? Now you are fine? Accept it?
Yes.
Okay. So this is how it is, right? So in case of IaaS, right? So now yesterday we were discussing about the various types of service models, right? And different type of deployment models, right? So, and I had requested you not to get confused with the service offerings and the type of deployment models, right? So when we talk about the deployment thing, right? Please tell me a case, right, where all of this you will be responsible for.
You as in not the cloud provider. You
Not
mean
the
customer.
nothing will be managed by cloud
It,
provider.
it would be on
Only
premise then. It's a data center.
no,
It is
no, it will no on premise, but there can be subscription also, just subscription you are taking and not taking any services from them. There is a core, there is a
Yeah.
kind of reseller sort of service
Yeah.
that you can take.
So you don't want support from them, right? So they are not
Yeah.
responsible. You have the option to do this, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
you make it on premise, right? Get it deployed on premise, and then you don't opt for their services. You manage it. Possible?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
So you are responsible in that case. So for on-premises deployment, where you are not taking the responsibility, you own all of this, right? But when it goes to managed services, when it goes to partially managed services or fully managed services or something, then we see that in case of SaaS we have none of this right available, right? In case of PaaS, we are having access to application code, and in case of IaaS, we are going above from the OS layer, right? So hope it is clear to every one of you, right? So
Yeah, that's clear now.
Yeah, thank you so much. So now let's
So,
move on.
just one thing. Sorry,
Yeah, I'll go back.
Harish, as
Yep.
you're explaining it
Yep.
so well.
Sure.
Now, if I take a PaaS,
Yep.
I understand that the IaaS is, up to virtualization and things like that. If I
Yeah.
take a PaaS and a SaaS, it means it will be complete till PaaS is a full-fledged services,
Yeah.
full-fledged platform. That means even the server hardware, everything below means IaaS and PaaS is covered under SaaS.
Correct.
Right? Yeah, full
Yes.
suit. Yeah, that's what
Yes.
my understanding was. I'm just
Correct. That's
trying
what
to, yeah.
Buddha, because of
Yeah.
that only Buddha chose all of the above option,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
he
yeah,
thought, fine. So whether it is SaaS or PaaS or everything comes under IaaS, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but the question is, focusing on the definition of IaaS, right? So that's why technically, though it is correct, right? So it was just to confuse, right? So that's why they have chosen the option, right? So let's go back to the slide with the best possible understanding you are having as of now, right? So let's go back, look at another question.
I'd go with B.
You have to choose 3.
Yeah, so I will go with B, D, and E.
B for Bombay, right? D for Delhi, and E for Europe, right? B,
Yes.
D, and E, right? Okay.
That's right.
Okay, Pradata. Anybody else wants to try?
BD.
3 you have to choose.
BDE.
B, C, and E.
Buddha says B, C, and E. Okay. B, C, and E. Okay.
B, B, D, and E.
Shweta says B, D, and E. Right. Anybody else? Please try. Nothing wrong in trying, right? So just
B, C, and E.
Sai. So B,
Yes.
C, and E. Okay. So Buddha and Sai says B, C, and E. Shweta and Rahul, I think, says B, D, and E, right? Pradatta, you have given your answers?
Yeah, I said B, D, E.
B, D, and E. Okay. Rahul, you are yet to answer?
Yeah. It's B.
Okay.
It's B and C and E. B, C, and E.
B, C, and E. Okay. So I have more answers for B, C, and E. I'm not sure why you are looking at no C. Is that a direct benefit? No. Are you getting so much of elastic design, right? Are you getting it?
In virtualizations, we can
No, we choose.
based.
The C is about the elasticity, right? So elasticity is the ability to
like
the allocated resources to meet the demand, right? So are you getting that much of elasticity in virtualization? It would be like cloud elasticity, right?
yeah.
So are you getting so much of elastic design in application that you are choosing it, preferring it as compared to other options? You have another option, right? Just take a look. Other than C?
Go for B then in case efficient.
Go for D, right?
Correct. Reduce capex and opex operations and this will, yes.
Okay, yeah. So that makes sense.
Yes, B, D, and E.
Yeah, B, D, and E makes better sense to me, right? So if you look at the security aspects, right? So that's not the direct
Issue.
In fact, there may be some issue as well, right? If your hypervisor is compromised, right? All your virtual machines, running on the virtualization will be compromised, right? So no, I will not choose security. Yeah, so let's go at B. Then it talks about the high density use of, so efficient use of resources. So we have seen yesterday that how we can consolidate and how we can use utilize the hardware at its best, right? So good. So that B option, it's common, everyone had chosen. C thing is like elastic design of applications. So that will be, too much for virtualization to give as a direct benefit. Definitely indirectly you can get benefited. However, not a direct benefit, I would say, the elasticity, right? So, and then we look at reduced capex and OPEX, right? So we have been discussing, right, about Buddha yesterday about consolidation, right? And see, if you are having 4 servers and if you reduce to 2, right? So one thing is like, in place of 4 servers, you can go for 2. So your capital expenses is reduced, and in your data center, you can reduce your data center size by 50%, your electrical consumption by 50%, your cooling by 50%, your maintenance staff by 50%. So overall, the carbon footprints and everything will be reducing.
Comes under, yeah, it comes under operations.
Operational expenses, right?
Yes.
So it would be cheaper to maintain as well, right? And it will be, definitely with respect to the upfront cost or reduction in the cost, right? So capex and opex definitely reduces, right? Now E option, faster provisioning of applications and resources, right? So say like you require a server, right? You go and buy a hardware, right? So this is conditional again, right? So you should have enough computing and other resources available to you, right? Then only you can do this faster provisioning. So your assumption is you are having enough hardware resources available to you, right? And you just want to provision a VM, right? So you can do it in minutes, right? If you want to set up a provision server, right? So you start purchasing it and then you just go for it. It will take so much of time, right? So that's so B, D.
Yeah, understood now. The reason I chose C, which appeared to be appropriate for me, was that since we are talking about faster provisioning of applications, which would also provide the elasticity to the applications as well. But yes, I will agree with you in terms of the
benefit.
Design of application. It is not a direct benefit because application architecture would depend on how I am sizing my servers, like what kind of a redundancy I am looking into and all those things, which is not a direct virtualization output, but it's a basically,
yes,
yeah, it is how I am, I mean, how resilient I want my application to be in terms of the number of servers, the load balancing, etc. So that would make sense. And the reason I didn't choose reduced capex opex because of opex was also mentioned in there, and I thought it does make sense that it is reduced, but however I'll still have the opex based on my pay as go model, because of the utilization that I would be having for my resources. So I would still incur an opex. However, yes, there will be a reduced capex definitely.
So here we are only talking about virtualization. Please do not relate to cloud. Buddha.
Right.
So pay
I
per
understand
use
that. Yeah.
won't be related.
Right. So yeah, I mean, when I was thinking about the answer, I
Okay,
took it
okay,
from a cloud perspective, but then
okay.
now I understand that I just need to look into only the virtualization part.
Virtualization. Yeah.
Normally,
Yeah.
we are looking into only virtualizations like benefits on server, not on cloud basis.
Yeah. Correct, Buddha. So that is making sense, right? So this little bit of confusion will be there,
So
right?
actually,
Based on this.
the questions is very like question and as well as options are very confusing.
Yeah. So like this only, it will be there.
It will be there in like AWS certifications and all. We know, I know that. I know
It's
that.
not of that level actually, Rahul, right? But yeah, of course, no. To some extent, you can say yes, right?
Yes.
So no, so you will have like simpler questions and no the questions with a little bit of medium level of complexity and some questions that may be unknown to you, right? So there will be a mix of questions, right? You will be discussing on the actual questions as well, right? Fine. So for today, I have no S3 as a hands-on agenda and EC2, right? So this is just like to give you an overview of how we can access the services at AWS, right? And how we can do some simpler things, right? So this is just to give you an understanding about the simplicity of cloud and some hands-on, and so that you will have your own account and you will be able to access the services, right? So this is just with that respect, right? So we will not be covering the in-depth knowledge or kind of theoretical concepts or use cases with respect to any of these, right? So first we'll begin with just the hands-on, right? So once you have your account set up, you understand, right, where to click and where not to click, right? So once you have that idea, right, then we will get into it, and one by one we will be revisiting each one of the things, and we'll be discussing in detail, right, from various aspects, right? So let's begin with setting up our own AWS free tier account. So hope some of you may be having, you are not having any free tier account.
I don't have any.
We don't have.
I have a free account.
Okay, so Buddha is having a free tier account, right? So the others, anybody else is having the account?
No.
No, I
All
don't
right.
have.
Okay, so not an issue, right? So please go ahead and try to create AWS free tier account, right? So to begin with, we'll go to aws.amazon.com, right? So this is the website. Okay, so just go to this website, aws.amazon.com, right? And choose create an AWS account.
It's asking for email ID, password, and all these details. So
Yeah,
email
please.
ID,
Yeah.
email ID. I can give my Gmail ID.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So you have not used that Gmail ID for creating any of the account in AWS in past, right? So you please use a fresh email ID, right?
Okay, fine.
This is going to be a personal account, right?
Correct.
it's account type will be personal, correct, Harish?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. The only difference is if you choose
Professional,
official
yeah,
or
it will
something,
be a
then you have to
professional.
mention the company name and all. So
Yes.
please go with the personal.
Do I need to add my credit card details?
Yes.
They will charge something. 2
Yes,
rupees,
yes.
2
They
rupees
will
or
charge,
something.
say
2
like
rupees.
two rupees, and
Yes,
then
2
they will
rupees.
refund it back. Right?
Yeah, within 2 to 5 days.
Okay.
Probably you'll get today or tomorrow itself. Yeah. Hello, Karthik. Karthik. Karthik, can you hear us? Karthik? We can't hear you, Karthik. Please try to check the mic.
This is going to be a basic plan, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's done.
So the account is created, Musli. So now I need to again go ahead and log into the console, something like that, sign into the console.
Yeah, again, you can go to the same website, aws.amazon.com, and there you see my account, right? And you have AWS Management Console option. Simply click on that, right?
Just a second. So you want me to go to Amazon.com again? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And here I see my account management console. Yeah.
Okay, so you just click on that and then enter
Root
your
user or IAM user? What is the difference between that?
actually
Root,
the one
Root
that
is
you
the
have
root you will
admin
have
user.
all the access. Yeah,
All
root is
the
the
access,
admin,
it's like an administrator.
and then
Yeah,
you
so
can
you are
create
owner.
specific users using IAM.
Correct. So Shweta, you got it?
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm going to the root user. Okay.
Yeah, so the one that you have created, the account that you have created, you are owner of this account, right?
Okay.
Your
Yeah, yeah.
credit card and everything is there, right? So now you are owner of this account, right? You are you are having the fullest possible capacity, right? So now you log in using your email ID and the password that you had selected, right? So at later point of time, we will look at IAM, right? Here you see IAM, right? Once you log in, you will see. So
So the root user, can it be within, like I have registered, but can I make multiple people as a root user?
No. Only one root user, only one root account. You are the owner. That's it. Your credit card details, your all other details you cannot share with others, right?
So that is
now,
what is called master billing account, right?
correct. Now,
It's Rahul here.
yeah,
It's when I'm clicking on IAM user, all right, it's asking for account ID, 12 digits or account alias. What ID, 12 ID, what ID it is asking for, 12 digit?
That no, once you create one account, right? So you get one account ID associated with your account, right? So that will be the 12-digit ID. So you can go to the account section once you log in, right? You log in as root first.
Okay.
Don't choose the IAM option. Just log in as root, and then you click on your you will have a short name or something. Say like here in my screen, you can see I have some name here, right? So if you click on that, and if you go to my account, you'll see your account details.
And one thing more, in root user, it is asking for root user email address. What email address?
That is the email address that you used to create this account.
Okay, personal email or
same email that you used to create this account. No, initially what was it asked? No, in the very beginning, the first thing.
That email ID and password it asked.
That only, yeah.
Okay, I logged into admin now, root now.
Perfect. So you are on the AWS Management Console.
Okay.
Perfect. Please let me know, all of you, once you are there.
Should I go back to my account, like IAM account from login?
Here you can here you can click. You have your short name here mentioning some ID, some name. Click on that.
Okay. Rahul Rai is there. My name is there.
Sure. So click on that, and you will see, the my account option, right? Just click on
my
that.
account option is there. Yes, correct.
Just you can look at it. You'll have your email address. You'll have your full address. You will have.
Charger.
Harish, now I am coming to a page where my it is written Santosh Sharma page is coming. AWS Management Console and login as Santosh Sharma. Is it correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So there you choose, give your so is it similar to the page that you see on my screen?
One minute. I am going to the screen once.
Sure.
Okay. Now Harish, its account ID is visible to me.
Yeah. It is like this only with my name Santosh Sharma.
Perfect, Santosh. So you are at the right place.
Yeah.
Okay. So now account ID and all these things is visible. So I can log into my IAM user using this account ID as whatever is visible to me.
Not IAM user, Pradatta. That is a root account actually, right? That's not IAM user, right? So
Actually, Harish, I'm telling that Rahul here. I'm telling that it's account ID. Like currently, I'm in logged in with root user. All right, but
Yeah.
below the root user, it's some other option was there, that is IM user, something like that, where it was asking for me account ID. So now I got the account ID here. Now once I clicked on my name inside my account, as you told
checked, you looked at your account ID, right?
Yes, it's created and it's visible to me now.
Good.
So now based on that, I can log into IM user as well.
No. Based on that, you can log in at a later point when you create IM user.
Okay, fine. So as of now, we have to work inside this root user only, correct?
Correct. So once you understand how IM works, you can create IM user, and you can use that IM user. If you because see, root account in production environment, we will not be using root account.
Right, because whatever changes you will make, it is like changes. Because of making changes, we used to use root account.
Root account, yeah. So root account is like here kind of can be single point of issue. Yeah. So if it is hacked or if somebody
I got it.
Then will be everything will be compromised. Everything related to your account will be compromised.
So Harish, that means we have to work in root account only, right?
See, to begin with, yes. Just now, because that is the first point, right? This is the first page from where you have to begin, right? Your journey. That is the root account is the first thing, the first account, which will help you to interact with AWS. That's the very first thing.
Yeah.
So you have set up your account, right? So that you can start accessing the AWS services, right? So this is the page, this AWS Management Console. This is the page where you can, you have all the services provided by Amazon, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So please let me know, all of you, right? When you get access to this page, right? So accessing this page means you are with Amazon now.
I mean,
Pradatta.
Yeah, Pradatta. Everyone got this page, right?
No, I have to select root user, right?
Yeah, sure. Please choose root user. Please give the email address. Please sign in using another password.
Yes, I'm on AWS Management Console screen.
Okay, perfect. So I think anybody is still no, not here. Okay, so I believe all of us are having a root account, right? And all of us have logged into the AWS Management Console, right? Correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So with this, so we are done with the very first step, signing up for AWS free tier account, right? So now creating a bucket, right? So what is a bucket? So we'll see. We'll go back and do this. Just see here. Just come down. You see storage option here?
Yeah.
All of you? Just click on S3.
Yes.
Yep. So just click on S3, everyone. Under storage, click on S3.
Yeah.
Okay, done.
Okay, good. Now, look here, you have option, right, to create a bucket, correct?
Yeah.
You will not have anything here. It will be blank because just now you have created the account, right? So you just click on. So you see here, we have temporarily re-enabled previous. Yeah, please.
Harish, I'm sorry. Okay, I understood that. So I'm in the first screen, initial screen.
Yep.
From there, where should I go?
So here you are in the very first screen, right? So you want to go to S3. So here you can type S3 in the search field, and you can click on it, or just come down and you see here storage.
Okay.
And then you see S3, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just click on S3. So reach here to some page, right?
Yes. Okay.
Where you see S3 buckets, some option
So,
in S3. Yeah.
so Harish, what are we trying to do here? Are we saying what is a landing zone creation? And are the options that we are seeing here, it's same whether we would have taken to any other services like an enterprise organization would take?
Yes.
Like, okay, the options would remain exactly the same.
No, see, this is what is AWS providing you. These are the services when we came to the very first page, right? So those are the services provided by Amazon, right? So your interaction, your dashboard, right? To deal with AWS, what you want, what you don't want, what you want to manage. So that the name itself is AWS Management Console, right? So you can manage your AWS related everything from there.
No, when we were doing a selection in making an account, there were certain options available, which was to do with basic service, and there were different other services.
Correct.
To select. So what is the difference between those services? What were the options available? What difference would have it make when I selected a basic and then there were others?
Correct.
So that is something if you could explain a bit more.
Correct. So Shweta, all the accounts are exactly same, right? Now what happens, account would not be different. However, here we have chosen a free tier, right, for doing our hands-on, correct? So AWS giving you is some kind of facility where you can go and create some account where you can do some trials, you can do some hands-on, and you can look at the features, and if you like it, right, so you can continue with the other options, right? So other possible features, other type of subscriptions, right? So we'll be discussing about all those things, right? What is good for production, what is good for development, what is good for various type of use cases, right? So this is the very beginning, right? To begin with, it's like for your understanding, it's kind of it's a kind of offering, right, where you will have access, right, to some of the free services for 12 months, right? So on the very first screen, when they said free tier or something, so there you will have certain access, right, where you just look for AWS free tier. So let me just take you to the page where you will have, just type AWS free tier, right, and it will tell you about how much what you can get, for how long you can get. 750 hours of EC2 utilization you will have, right? You see.
That is okay, Harish. All I wanted to know if the basic free account is a replica of any other enterprise or paid account. Just with a limited, capacity.
It's not limited, Shweta. So that's what
you can able to access all the things. You can able to access all the things, but here you are using this for like free purpose for some time duration. Okay, once you pay, you will also once you pay.
When I say limited capacity is, I mean the duration and
exactly the same. What you use to what you use when you pay. Okay, it's exactly the same.
It's exactly the same, Shweta. Here also you want to use anything up to the production level, right? So you can pay for it.
Got it, sir. Got it, sir. Now regarding this bucket creation and all, when I normally see the engineers creating, the first thing they are doing is a landing zone creation, the scaffolding and all. Is that same what you're trying to do here?
No. This is just, I'm just trying to tell you the how you can do something in AWS. This is just a introduction where I just want you to understand that, say like once you log in, right? So you can do something. So just
okay. It is not a series of events. It is just something. It's a random thing that you are picking and telling us.
Correct. simply, you know, just to tell you that, okay, you just now created your account, you can do something, right?
Yeah,
just
but
to
you will
have-
cover, right? But you will cover how we should set up an
Of course.
proper. Okay.
Of course, we'll be covering each and everything, right? Each and every component, Shweta. Right?
Okay.
Okay, so just you have some kind of feeling that, okay, you have come here and you are doing something, right? So you can create something. Then we'll be taking each and every component, right? Whether it is networking or it is kind of storage, right? The various components of networking, various components of storage, various types of instances. Everything we'll be doing just to get an idea, right? So some few basic things we'll be doing, right? So you just come here to this page, and here you just look at inside that S3, right? So you just click on create bucket. Okay, you're there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, good. So just give some name here. So bucket name, there will be guidelines, right? So it should be unique, right? And you should not be using certain symbols at the end, at the beginning. So like that. So you just try to enter a name here. Just put try to make something unique. Say like I'll say bucket hyphen. See, as soon as I say hyphen, it says bucket name must not end with dash or period. So it's like that. So I say bucket.
Can I enter my name here in
Yeah.
bucket name?
Yes.
I can do that, right?
Yeah, but if it has taken by somebody else, right? So you won't be able to get it. Once you try to create,
Okay.
it will give error. Right?
It will. Okay.
So just keep something unique. So today, say like I'll say 1309. Right? So I'll just say like bucket hyphen Harish hyphen 1309. Some kind of unique name I have given. Right? Now see what is there. You see regions. We have been discussing our regions, right? Right. So where you want to, in which region you want to create this bucket, right? So you have options, right? You see Asia Pacific, Mumbai, Asia Pacific, Seoul, right? Singapore. So like that, you have various options, right? With respect to the different regions. Say like I have chosen US East Ohio. Okay. Just choose that. Say next.
It is by default for me.
Ohio is default for you?
Yeah, it's by default for me. Yeah, it's US East Ohio.
Yeah, US East for me, right? Yeah. Please go ahead. Say next.
Okay. Yeah.
So here you look at some as the name suggests, say like versioning, right? Keep all versions of an object in the same bucket, right? Simple as the name suggests, right? Just choose versioning.
Okay.
Right, so it's same like how you have version controlling systems, right? So we'll be checking all these things. I'll be showing you all this, so nothing to worry. See here tags, you have key value pair, right? So you want to reference whatever this object you are trying to create. So this bucket you are trying to create, right? In the S3, right? So you have a basic understanding that we went to storage and then we clicked on S3, right? So it must be related to storage, right? Right. So we are trying to create a bucket inside that storage, correct? So that means it must be a container for my objects, correct? So I'm going to create an object, right? I will be creating some objects and I'll be keeping in that bucket, right? So kind of storage for my bucket. So this is object related storage. So here you just put some tag, right? You just give some name and value. Say like you just say like some kind of name, and you say that my.
Which option did you went to after creating?
You are here.
Yeah.
Yes. So just I have chosen a name and I have chosen a region, right? So when you are choosing this, you see here it says global on the top.
Oh, I just clicked on create and it created. I did not go to configure and get permission and all.
Okay, you clicked on create, so it got created, right, with the default option. So there is nothing wrong in it. So now you just take a look here, right? So almost will not be choosing any of the things. So what you missed is, say, like after choosing these two, I went to next, and then there I had option to make the versioning, enable the versioning, right? So versioning, you understand, right? So if my file, if I delete, I will have older version available to me, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
So exactly the same simple thing, right? So here you just take a look, doesn't matter, let it be whatever you
Harish,
have.
excuse me, Harish, I will interrupt you here.
Yeah,
actually I have some confusion now.
Tell me.
Like we are creating bucket, but I just want to know what is the use of bucket? Okay, in terms of AWS,
everything will
it will be
discuss,
covered.
Rahul.
Okay.
Rahul, this is not the topic. We are not dealing with the storage here.
Okay, fine.
This
Means
is
practically
just
we are just looking into it.
Simply see, like no, once you try to log in, right? So how you can click here or there and you can understand things, right? So like that only.
Okay, fine, Harish, thanks.
Because from somewhere we have to begin, right?
Yeah, right.
And all theory and all
Actually, I thought that we are doing this one and the concept is not clear, so it's got confusing.
No.
That's why I asked you. Okay, no issue.
I'll be actually going in very detail of storage, networking, right? Database, and the computing. These four things I'll be going in. Okay.
Sure.
Okay,
Thanks.
so just give some name like my first bucket or something. Shweta, so just take a look here. So versioning I have chosen. I have server access logging, right? So you have some option for logging or something. So you have some kind of name. So what is this tag, right? So based on the tag, this is object kind of storage where you will have, you need to reference your bucket. Say like you can have 10 buckets, 10 different types of buckets or something, right? And based on some kind of name or based on some kind of department, right? Say like this is for the particular department, this is for the finance department or something, right? So based on that, you can try to find out all the buckets where department is finance or something, and then you can try to do something with that, how much cost has been incurred with that. So all those things you can do, right? So some of just will not look at anything in detail here, right? Because that's not the purpose. We'll be coming back, right? So let's click on next. Just see some kind of access related stuff or block public access, block all public access. So all those options are there, right? So you can either block, you just
can you please go back once? Actually, I have not created the second one. Okay, so I can put name and all these departments. Means we are creating this for particular department, a particular
you are tagging it. So you are tagging it, you are just giving some kind of tag to your bucket, right? So whatever object, whatever things you are creating, whatever resource you are creating, you are just giving a tag so that you can refer it back. How much cost was incurred by this particular key value pair, right? So I'll be showing you in detail how it can be useful with respect to doing certain maintenance, with respect to cost, all those things, right? So just choose some options, right? And don't go into any of the advanced options or something. Simply you just click on next. Here you just see some options are there where you can block all public access, or you can grant access. So those kind of features are there, right? So you can understand, as the name suggests, block all public access. If you just remove, then you see some pop-up is coming. We'll be discussing about this, right? So this is a kind of advisor who is advising us about the security, right? So we'll be dealing in detail. So say like you have to acknowledge, right? So it's just warning you that you have to acknowledge, right? Because whatever is the content of your bucket will become public if you just block all public access option. If you remove, so it will become public. So let's keep that block all public access like this as of now. Just click on this, right? You just see whatever options you have chosen. Some 2 tags you have chosen, some versioning you have enabled, some logging you have disabled. So all those things will come like that, right? Next, and then you just click on create button. Okay. So once you click on create bucket, right? So whatever name was there, say like bucket -Harish 1309. So that bucket got created, and it says US Ohio region, right? And right, the date and time of creation, right? So so this is how you just simply go and create things, right, in AWS. You just click on that, look at this bucket, right? Do you have anything in this bucket? You all created some bucket. Shweta, you can go to your bucket.
It's empty.
Click on your bucket, Shweta.
Yeah. It's all empty. I set up the tag and things like from this properties. I mean here. From this
Okay.
option.
Okay, perfect. So if you are here in the bucket, so what you can do, some basic steps you can do, right? So say like you just create a file, right? Create text file on your desktop. Okay. Simply create say like test1.txt, something. You just just create test1.txt, right? You put some data,
Low AWS.
test1, yeah, you put some data and then save it and pull it here and keep it. Simply once you pull, right, so you have some to upload a file larger than 160 GB. Okay, so it doesn't matter to me. You have option to do next, or you have option to do upload. So how you create it quickly, Shweta? So like that you have option to upload also quickly, right, with the default kind of permissions or something. So here when you are trying to put some file here, right, so you see access for AWS account, add account, you want to give access to some other account or something, you want to keep it only for the owner, you want to give read, write, whatever permissions for this object, or do not grant public access to this object recommended. The block public access setting turned on for this bucket prevent granting public access, right? So you see these options, right? So how you are going to do things if you try to, because from there you are having block public access settings turned on for this bucket, right? So this will prevent from granting public access, right? So it depends at the higher level what kind of access you have given, right? At the lower level, this object will be kept inside that bucket, right? So at lower level, what kind of access you are going to give, right, will depend on the higher level access as well, right? So like you just say next, you have certain storage classes, a different type of storage classes. We'll be looking at each one of it. We'll have questions, answers, right, discussions, right, with respect to this, right, in detail, correct? So nothing to worry about it. As of now, you just choose this standard one that we are getting under our free tier, right? So up to 5 GB of storage or something you will be having for if you want to look at the S3 pricing, you can open this page, right? It will open in a new page where you can look at the pricing, right? So this is a kind of object storage where you are trying to put some object, right? And you are putting that object in a particular type of what? Storage class. You see multiple storage classes options are there, say like standard. So once I try to explain, right, so you will be able to relate to it, right? So okay, fine. So this is how when I am trying to put some object in my bucket, right, so I had got some option, right? So now what Harish is explaining is all about that option only, right? So you will have a better understanding when I get into theoretical explanation of things, right? So you have standard, right? You have intelligent tiering, you have standard IA, you have one zone, Glacier deep archive, reduced redundancy type, you have some options for encryptions, right? You have certain things to choose some metadata, right, with respect to some keys, right, with respect to certain things. So it'll be coming back, right? So as of now, you can tag for your object as well separately, right? So if you have some requirement, you can tag for your object. So here we will not do anything. Simply you choose this standard. what things you have to look at is availability zone greater than or equal to 3. So this is something, no, you can take a look. See here, availability zones greater than or equal to 3. So your data is going to be kept in minimum 3 availability zones.
The maximum we can put 3.
Minimum. You are
Minimum,
not
okay.
putting it. This is managed, no, by Amazon.
It's by default.
Right.
Yes, this is minimum. Your data will be, no, kept in minimum 3 availability zones. You can understand the durability of your data, right? So we'll be discussing about
And
which factors. Yeah, tell me.
So it will be replicated in all the 3 availability zones,
Yes, correct.
irrespective of, yeah. Okay.
Yes, correct. By default, it will be replicated, so you can understand the durability, right? So, and the availability, right? So you see, most of the cases you are having more than 3 or something, right? So when we take up each case, you see in one zone, like it is greater than or equal to 1, right? So in one zone, it is limited here to one availability zone or something, right? So here you don't have any minimum storage limit, right? So various pricing factors, various differences in availability of the data, right? So you're coming back, right? So for different purposes, for different use cases, right? We will be choosing different type of classes, right? So let's go to next simply, and you just say upload, right? Let's see. Yes, we have our file here. So all of you got your file here. You got your file here?
Yes, yes.
Yes, I got it.
Okay, good. Now, once you have your objects here, you have various choices, right? Properties, permission, management, access points, all those things. So click on this file, right? You have option to open it. You have option to download, right? You have option to copy path. I have like that latest version, that also available here, right? So like if I modify this file, right? Say like if I make it test2, right? I'll just show you. I have just modified the file on my desktop, not yet so far. So I'll just open it. Now first, I'll just open it. This is blocking the pop-up or something. Let me allow this. Show this one. You see, it says test1, right? Whatever was the content that I had kept there, correct?
Correct.
So that was the content here. So it is showing that. And
Can you just repeat, how did you open it?
Here, once you
Click on open.
Just in the bucket, you click on the file.
Okay, that's okay.
And click on the open option. So I have that blocker thing, right? So allow pop-ups, right? So show this response. Okay. So test1, right? That is the content here, right? So you just try that content, right? Now I have modified that file, right? So now, just to give you a glimpse of versioning, I'm just keeping another version of file here, right? I am simply saying upload now this time. Okay. Now, just see now test1 file that I have kept, right, from my desktop to this bucket, right? So if I just click on it this time and click on this open, right? So don't show this message in edit blocker option, right? So let me give some exceptions, right? Here, so aws.amazon.com. Okay, so we'll see. Okay, so we'll see. So for now, let me allow this. You see, the content has changed, right? Right? So now it is test2, right? So whatever files that I had kept initially, right? So now it is shown as the test1 is containing the updated data, right? Simply like how you put things in Google Drive, right? So like that, you have just put it here, and then you have this option. So if you click on this show, right? You see my new file is there. Where is my old file? So you see here version is hidden here, right? So click on show. You have both the options, correct?
Okay.
Correct. It indicates the latest version here on the top, right? It was edited at 11 o'clock, 11:01, and this is at 11:03, right? So there is a different version ID associated with that, right? And you have the date and time stamp. It shows the size and it shows the storage class for that particular object, right? So in which storage class did we put that? In standard storage class, correct? So this is some kind of basic understanding, right? Of how we can use some services at AWS, right? So for that reason, I've added this particular slide. So viewing an object, uploading object in a bucket, copying an object, testing the versioning, deleting objects or something. So say like you just delete that. You want to delete this bucket, okay, or you want to delete that object. So say like you have this particular object, and also you'll have some endpoint. So that endpoint I have not shown you the URL for that. You see, just look here, object URL. Look at
Yes,
this,
yes.
right? So you have this object URL, right? We have not given the public access. So later, no, we will be using this S3 again and again, right? So that time I will show you how we can take this object, how we can grant public access, and I create my, say like my website in S3, and you can access it from your end, right? So how I can make it publicly available, right? So those things we will be looking at, right? So this, just look at this thing where when you come inside that file and you have that object URL, that endpoint option, it is visible here, right? Just simply click on permissions, right? You look at the storage class, encryption, metadata tags, object tags, like that. You just go to properties. After properties, you go to permission, right? You have different kind of permissions, whether read permission, write permission, what kind of permission has been granted, right? So how you can make it publicly available, right? So those permissions and all those things are there, some basics, right? Fine. So you have some basic understanding of how we can go to the AWS console, right? You just try to delete that. Try to delete that file or bucket or something. So here you just choose S3, right? If you have come to console, go from console to the particular service, right? Say like you are going to this S3, right? And you are choosing your bucket, or say like you want to delete the object. How will you delete the object? You have the older version available or something, you want to delete that, you just select it, right? So usually you will have options under this action menus, right? So you will be, very much using this action menus, right? So you just see, look at this action menu, you have delete option. So you want to do some kind of action, right, on any of the resources or any of the particular part of the resource, right? So usually you have to go into action menu.
So Harish,
You want to delete, yeah, please.
For some reason, I'm not getting the action menu on my.
I think you have not clicked inside the bucket. Say like you are here on S3, right? So in S3, you just click on the bucket. Once you click on the bucket, right?
Yeah.
So you want to
did that.
You select it. You just click on show. Now you will have this select two files or something. So you want to act upon what? So first you have to choose that. Say like you want to work on this file, right? So you choose that and then you go to action.
I got it. All right. And one more thing, what I was not clear is, so once you have made the change to the original text file in your desktop, will that change get reflected in the one which I have uploaded? Because I'm not finding that change in my document.
You will have two versions actually. You will have new version created. Did you choose versioning option?
No, I'm not. Yeah, I did choose. I'm getting it mentioned as the latest version, but I'm only getting only one.
Click on show.
One version.
Click on show.
Yeah. I have clicked on show. I'm just getting one version only.
You're not having two files.
No, I made some changes to my original file in the desktop, but I'm still not having the new file.
You have to make changes in the desktop and then say like you just have to So you just have to make changes here. You just saved it. You just save it and then pull it here. Keep it here. And then say
Okay.
upload.
All right.
Correct? So
Okay,
because you have
so
made changes in your local machine, right? You need to upload it.
So yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So once you just take it there, so you will have two options as of now for you, right? Just see.
There is no way to sync, right? You have to drag and drop manually.
Everything is there, right? Everything there. Whatever you want, that is there. You can just make things possible, right? So all options are there. Everything is there. So it's not the way to just drag it manually. Just one example I'm giving. So here from the console, right? You can choose that drag and drop, or you just choose some upload and add files or a lot of things or something. So this console is not only the single way to access your resources or work with your resources, right? I'll show you multiple other ways, right? So how you can work upon your bucket, right? So the very next thing I'll show you. I'll show you the command line interface, right? So how we can work with command line interface. So here we are just trying to understand the various ways of accessing our resources at AWS, right? So remember the very for the previous module we had one option, right? How we can access it, correct? So still we are the same, that part itself. We are not dealing with the storage so far, just for your basic understanding, right? So we will be able to access the same bucket, right? Using say like command line interface, right? Not through this console, from the command line interface, right?
Okay.
So I'll give you opportunity for a hands-on for that, right? So nothing to worry. Okay, so Buddha, you got the different files and you were able to click.
Yes.
And you checked you have the latest version.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So
But I'm still not getting the option to delete the older versions in the actions also.
Okay. So what you do is you go inside the bucket, right? Now you just see the files. You want to say like you want to delete this created at 11 o'clock night or something.
Right.
Now after you selected it, you click on action menu.
Okay.
You're in the bucket.
I know. I've got it. I'm inside the bucket.
Here you see the option delete option.
Yes. Sorry. It was there in my.
It was down.
In my
It
list.
was
It was down.
Yeah.
Okay. So once you click on it, so it says all affected versions of WebEx will be permanently deleted, right? And you say delete, right?
Yeah. It got deleted. Right.
Right. So this is how